Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, at the request of a YouTuber, I'm doing this video to show you how to install the Turnigy 2S Lipo battery into your Litehawk charger. A little modification you need to make, also the other equipment you're going to need, but I'm also going to talk to you a little bit first about batteries. The boat comes with a 1100 milliamp 7.2 volt nickel methyl hydrate battery, which is also very bulky. It's 6 cells. It's very heavy. I think it's actually a little too heavy. And it comes with a cool little Dean's connector or T connector. So, the battery discharge rate on it is lousy. Performance is like, blech. You know, I mean, the first time I tried out the boat, it was great. It's like, hey, it works awesome. But then I'm like, it just doesn't perform well. It should perform better, especially when you watch the videos. You know what I mean? It's got to perform. This thing just doesn't have the poop for some reason. So, I thought, alright, so we tried Lipo batteries. I took two 3.7 volt helicopter Lipo batteries, tied them together to give us 7.4 volts, and it cranked the amperage up to about 1200 milliamps. So 100 extra. Performed a lot better. And of course the Lipos have a higher discharge rate too, so it's really going to shove that juice in there really nice. However, after 10 minutes it puked. But also, we had some trimming issues with lean, but not too much, but it was kind of livable. But then also, again, pain in the neck to recharge the batteries because they're permanently tied together. So, of course, this required two power supplies tied together in the same fashion to equal enough voltage to charge these things within an hour, which was good. 1 hour charge time, 10-minute playtime. I want more playtime. So, next modification. Lithium-ion batteries, or lithium-ion polymer batteries, whatever we want to call these things. Now they're 1100 milliamps a piece. Hooked them together, 2200 milliamps. Put one battery on each side. Had trim issues, it didn't want to plane straight. So I moved them both to one side, plane straight. Go figure. Got to have something to do with the torque in the prop system. Anyhow, problem with these is you're looking at 3 hours a piece to recharge these. And playtime is actually really good, but we didn't do a full timing session, so I can't give you an exact time. I can't even give you an exact time on the Turnigy yet, except I went at it for a half an hour yesterday and I was still going strong. So anyway, so this had to go. The next step, of course, was my buddy was over. He's into boats, and we've been playing around with, you know, picking up some parts for his new boat. And at the same time, we ordered some stuff for mine. And we ordered from Hobby King for this stuff. So we got the Turnigy 2S 7.4 volt 30 to 40 C discharge battery. 2200 milliamps of raw power at that kind of a discharge rate really rules. Because these blue lithium ions, they only discharge at about 10 C. You know, this is 30, and when you pin it, it'll take up to 40 C. And the boat rips. You know, it's really super nice. Now, let's get to the other parts you're going to need with this battery. You're going to need a charger. We got the DS4S, which is handy because now this will charge all my stuff. But it charges 2, 3, and 4 cell batteries. So your 2 cells are 7.4, 3 cells at 11.1, 4 cells at 14.8. So a really nice charger. Recharges my battery in about an hour and has a really cool set of displays. Tells you what each cell is doing. Tells you what the main voltage together is. And even tells you when it's charged. Says full, you know, FUL. It's only 3 digits. But then it also beeps at you and drives you nuts until you unplug it. Make sure you always babysit your batteries, especially Lipos. Anyhow, so this thing only came with a set of alligator clips that hook up to a car battery for charger. Hey, they give you something, that's cool. But I wanted the wall system too, mainly because I don't have access to the car battery all the time, right? And it's kind of stupid to go outside and slap it on the car battery. So anyway, picked up this charger, or AC adapter actually. It's the power supply that actually runs this charger, and you purchase it separately. All 3 pieces together was only 30 bucks before shipping. Now he had a bunch of these extra gold-plated banana plugs, so we swapped everything to banana plugs because the plug that came with the battery was a bullet connector, So we got these banana bullets, or whatever you want to call them, gold plated, and you need some heat shrink tubing, and of course you're going to need to switch your boat wires over to the same stuff. And they just solder in, works awesome. Now, one thing we were thinking about was the bottleneck effect, right? Because with when you talk about bottlenecking in air pressure systems, the same should actually apply to electrical, because we got really super thick wire here, and this is thick stuff, you know, to the much thinner stuff. If there is a bottleneck going on, we're not really noticing it. The boat is just performing like top end, and this LiPo battery is actually lighter than the stock 6-cell NIM pack. So lighter also equals faster, guys. And it planes really nice too. I have no issues with planing, and the angle that it went on and moved itself a little over this way actually helps with a little bit even better steering. So that worked out cool. Now, I'm not going to take the battery out because it's such a real pain to get it out, but I'm going to lift it up and show you. If you notice the post that got nipped off here, there you go. I did that with a soldering iron, and that's exactly where you nip it. And nip it with a soldering iron, unless you can get in there with like a little miniature X-Acto saw or something. But don't do it with side cutters, because if you start bending and twisting, you're going to fracture your hull. The other thing is when you do nip it, it's going to leave a top portion up. So I just used a soldering iron, went in there and slid it off, and it was fine. The reason being for that is this battery is about a ½ inch longer than the stock battery, and it's a stopping post for the stock battery. There's one post here, there's a post here that stops the battery from doing this. Like it's going to go anywhere. There's enough Velcro on here to hold an elephant back. You know what I mean? It ain't going to go anywhere. So I put a single strip of Velcro on the side of the battery, popped it in there with the post nipped. I mean, the post was already nipped with the other mod when I put 2 of these in, because 2 of these were like really long, and these are 2-cell a piece. So now you also get an extra 0.2 volts. Okay, you're going from 7.2 to 7.4. You're going from 1100 milliamps of sucky power, you know, at maybe a 10C discharge if you're lucky. Probably only about a 5 in these things, who knows. But then you move up to the 30C minimum, 40C top end. Now, yesterday I pinned the living tarmac out of this thing for ½ an hour, and I didn't want to do a whole ½ hour video because that gets real boring. I just did it on my own, and I pinned the hell out of this thing to see if I would have issues, because any of the other videos I've done, you know, like short segments, right? I've had no overheat issues, nothing, pinned the hell out of it. The bottleneck effect from thicker to thinner wires doesn't seem to be showing itself anyway. We're getting very fast throttle response out of this thing. Steering response is very quick. With the servo link all the way in, way better steering than the middle setting the factory did. Now I did try the very end, not in the water, but just to look at it. And believe me, you don't want to do that unless you want to take forever to make a circle. The middle one's a little more responsive, but in the area that we've been playing in that you've seen on the videos, it just wasn't enough. So it has to be on the far inside to get really good steering control that way. You're just going to have to be a little bit slower on rotating your control left and right to avoid flipping your boat, because it will flip, as we've done on a few videos, but it's a lot of fun. Anyhow, so that's the installation process, how you got to nip that thing, and what I would recommend is the ideal perfect setup. Now, I was also asked if an even higher discharge rate battery would hurt things. It might. I don't know for sure, but it might. So we figured we wouldn't push our luck, and the 30 to 40 is more than adequate for this boat. I mean, we are talking a brushed motor, but the 2200 milliamps at least you're going to need, because the motor is a brushed motor, and it's actually chews a lot of amperage. That's the only problem with brushed motors, is they are amperage hogs, which cuts down your playtime a lot too. But if you've got a high enough discharge rate like this in comparison to stock stuff, I mean, even 10C discharge, that was a nice mod. You know, but this is even nicer and faster. Also lighter battery too, which gives a little bit more speed too. With the whole discharge rate versus amperage, this motor probably chews about 800 milliamps to itself. So to have 2200 milliamps available, the motor gets to breathe 100%, which will also make it run cooler, okay, regardless of the cooling system. It'll run cooler because it's not trying to suck what it can't really get. It's getting to suck all it wants for amperage, and it runs wide open, okay? So the amperage is a very important factor, and 2200 milliamps is like the trigger for this thing. Just nicely matched, okay? And of course the servo is not chewing up squat, so, you know, but that motor does chew it, so this does help quite a bit. You will notice a big difference in performance overall. You will notice a big performance difference in throttle responses, everything going into this particular battery. Now, I may in the future try something with a much higher discharge rate in the same voltage and a little bit more milliamps just to see what happens, but the problem with that is I might end up with a much larger battery, and that's where the problem is going to happen, because you don't want to exceed the weight of this battery. You don't want to go really any longer, because if you do, that means you're going to be shoving it forward. You know, so you got to really watch those dimensions, and 1/2 inch is nothing to worry about. Okay, and where the weight is at the 1/2 inch, it's like nothing there, so it's not affecting anything. And the battery does not shift or move, guys. I bounced the hell out of this boat. I flipped it. That battery is not moving, and I put the Velcro along here, the full length of the battery, and so it's holding. I mean, you can tug on this thing, and you know, it's not going anywhere. It's not coming out. So you're all good to go. So hopefully that answers all your questions, including the guy who asked for this. We should be good to rock and roll. And when the weather gets a lot warmer, we've got a video that we're going to be coming up with once that happens. And to see how this boat actually looks with the new paint job on it in the nice bright sunlight. So look for that video when it gets posted. That'll be in a while, probably in a couple weeks. But anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.